Hey guys, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. It's beer 30. Let's go take a walk, see what's in the fridge today. Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Hopefully this is going to be a big treat. This is North Coast Grand Cru. And this is, according to the bottle here, it is a 12.9% alcohol by volume beer. And when I went to Rate Beer and Beer Advocate before I started the review tonight, or today, Rate Beer has this as an alias beer, and when you punch on that button it takes you over to North Coast 20th Anniversary Ale. So I'm not exactly sure what they're saying is this beer. It's showing the beer, but the label is just a tad different. It's a little bit different. It's still got the same emblem on the, but this emblem here on the front is a lot bigger on the bottle that they have here as opposed to what's on this bottle. And it says 12.9% on the bottle here, where they're saying 12.5% here on Rate Beer. And over to Beer Advocate, it's actually listed as the Grand Cru aged in bourbon barrels. And that's what it says here on the side of the bottle. It says ale brewed with agave nectar and aged in bourbon barrels. Whereas Rate Beer is not mentioning anything about the bourbon barrel aging. Their commercial description says 67% ale brewed with agave nectar and aged in oak barrels. Doesn't say anything about bourbon oak barrels. This says oak barrels. 33% ale aged, 33% ale brewed with agave nectar, released in 500 milliliter cork cage bottles at Brewpub on May 10, 2009. Later rebranded as Grand Cru. So, a lot of different conflicting information between these two sites as far as ABV. And Beer Advocate doesn't even have the ABV list. It has a question mark. So, I think there are some differences between this regular version, which is oak barrel, and the bourbon barrel version here, and between what's the 20th anniversary, because it doesn't have anything on the bottle that I've seen so far. Now, we'll look at the cork a little closer when we get it out of the bottle and see if it says 20th anniversary. So I think there's some conflicting information here on this particular beer. This was sent to me by my good friend Parrish out in California. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. This is considered a Belgian strong pale ale, according to what I've got written here from Beer Advocate. So, let's get on with this one. The food pairings for this style of beer. It says general aperitif digestive to meat is game and salmon. This is going to go with your stronger dishes, guys, being a 12.9%er. This is a sipper. This is a pretty big beer, not like the 19.3 that we did the other day. And I had a serious buzz when I got done with that beer. I was like drinking a six-pack all in one setting. So, not used to drinking beers of that major magnitude anyway, and it was only a 12-ounce bottle, and I did share some of that. So, but anyway, glassware, snifter tulip, oversized wine glass. I got my trusty friend here, the double glass, and this beer can be sold for long periods under the proper conditions. I can't think of why you couldn't sell this beer for 5, 10, 20 years. So, we're not going to sell this one though. So we're going to get the wire off the top of this one and get the cage and get the cork out of it and get it into the glass and see what this one's about. It's got North Coast Brewing on the very top of the cap here. And we'll see what's on the cork and see if I can get the cork out of this one. Some of these things are in pretty tight. Oh, this one's going to come right out. So I'm hoping it's not going to spew all over the place and it's not overly carbonated, but let's see. Nice pop. Oh, look at all the smoke. And there it comes. Very carbonated. Very carbonated. I'm going to pour that very slowly, and I'm going to go grab a paper towel. I probably should have brought one in here to pour this one in here. So let me go grab a paper towel, guys. Alright, let's see if we can continue on here. As you've seen, it come out of the bottle pretty quick. Just a tad overcarbonated as far as being in the bottle. But it didn't pour a super massive head, and what it poured is basically dissipated already. So let's get it over into the light and see what we got. I can see the light through there, but it has got a semi-cloudiness. I can barely make the bulb out through the glass there, guys. So nice tangerine color there, almost to the pumpkin color. A lot of bubbles in it, and it's got a little bit of particulars or particles floating around in the beer, guys. So looks very nice. Let's get a nose on it and see what we got. I'm getting a little bit of the alcohol, and the agave apple pear smell is there. Not getting a big bourbon. There's a slight hint of the bourbon. It's not like a big bourbon stout or something like that. It's there, but I'm getting more of the agave fruit notes, apples, pears. Well, let's give it a taste and see what we got. See what this North Coast ale is about. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Parrish. Very fruity, a slight tartness to it, nothing like a wild ale or a sour beer. Very fruity, very pleasant. A nice sweetness to it. For an almost 13%, there is a slight hint of the alcohol, but it's nowhere near what a 13% beer would be. Kind of well hidden. It is. A little bit on the dry side on the back end. Basically pretty fruity, pretty tasty. But we're going to let it warm up. It's right out of the fridge, 40 degrees, and see if it changes any. And like I said, this was a 500 milliliter bottle. And there's still half a bottle left, enough to pour her a glass and let her enjoy it. And a lot of times I have you guys will say, well, why don't you put her on camera, or why don't you tell us what she thinks. A lot of times I try to tell you whether she likes it or don't like it. She likes just about everything that I do. Her tastes are very similar. She's tasted every beer that I've reviewed over the last 5 years or so, and she's a hophead like myself. She likes the IPAs and loves the stouts and the bourbon stouts. The 19%er that we had the other day from Avery, she loved. I mean, she likes that big bourbon flavor too. We don't drink bourbon or anything like that anymore, but it's nice when we get a stout or something like that. It's and this doesn't have a big bourbon character to it. It's kind of subdued. So, and I don't know exactly when this one was done. I don't see any dating on the bottle. We'll look a little closer when I come back. So let's let it warm up and pour her a glass, and we'll sip on this for a little bit. And that's what I intend to do, is sip on it. And we'll come back and see if it's changed any and what we got on the final chug. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little bit left here. Maybe just a little bit more than a little bit. Awesome smelling beer. Wow, very tasty. Final chug. The bourbon on this is ever so slight. The agave nectar lends a sweetness, honeyish taste to the beer, along with the lighter fruit notes, the apple and the pears and the hint of pineapple. Very, very tasty. Been sipping on this probably about 45 minutes. Very, very tasty. The other half liked it a lot. She has allergies and she doesn't get a lot on the nose a lot of times, but she knows what she likes and tastes. And she did like this one. She thought this was very tasty, very pleasant, and I agree. It is a very pleasant, very tasty beer. Like I said, there's a lot of conflicting information from Rate Beer and Beer Advocate as far as ABV and whether it's a 20th anniversary beer or what. There's nothing on this bottle that says 20th anniversary whatsoever. Nothing on the cork, nothing on the cage, nothing on the label here that says 20th anniversary. It is a blended beer, and it's a very dark bottle. I can't see any light through the bottle. It's a very, very dark bottle, and I don't see anything written on the bottle to tell me what year or bottle on date it is, which is not important for this style of beer. I mean, like I told you, it will keep for 5, 10, even up to 20 years at almost 13%. So very, very tasty. Very, very tasty. Paris, thanks again, brother, for sending me this one. I'm a big fan of most of the stuff that North Coast does. The beers they do are very, very tasty, and I have reviewed several of them in the past. So they do some good stuff. So this one's very tasty. It is a sipper. I've been sipping on it about 45 minutes, and it's nice. A lighter fruit note aspect to this beer, as opposed to some dark fruits or stuff like that. A lot of light fruits. The Belgian yeast lends a nice quality to the beer. It's tasty. I mean, I'm going to leave it at that. As far as I'm concerned, guys, this is a very well made beer. I would like to see them put a year on this so we'll know, you know, if you're going to sell it for 5 or 10 or 15 years when it was exactly put on the bottle without having to put a piece of tape on it and write when you bought it. But then you don't know how long it's been sitting on the shelf. If it was a 20th anniversary, you could go to their website and find out when that 20th anniversary was done. But this bottle does not have that written on it anywhere. So there's some conflicting information on this about this beer, having an alias on one side and not the other, and being listed as an oak aged beer and not a bourbon barrel beer. So a lot of different conflicting information on this one, but it is a tasty beer. So if you see this one, pick it up and give it a try if you like this style of beer, which is an American strong ale. Very tasty, guys. For me, I'm going to give it to 8, which is an A-. I do think it's an A beer. If it would have had a date on it somewhere, at least a year, I would probably give it to 9. But without that information, I'm not really sure with all the conflicting information. So I'm going to give it to 8 in the scale for me, guys. That's just my opinion. So let's go see what everybody else thinks. We'll go over to Beer Advocate. Beer Advocate says 85 in the very good range. And they are not listing this. Yeah, they are. They are the ones that's listing it at Grand Cru aged in bourbon barrels. So I think that number's a little bit low. If I was putting a numeric rating on this beer, it would probably be between 89 and 91 is what I would put it at. So with that being said, let's go over to Rate Beer. And Rate Beer says overall 94 and 79 in the style. I don't understand why the numbers in the style are that low. I think they are low. 94 overall. I think that number is just a tad high. Just my opinion now. I would like to know what the year is on this beer. They need to at least put the year on there, so you know when you buy it how old or how long the beer has been in the bottle, and if you want to cellar it, how, you know, this beer was done in 2014 or 2012 or whenever. That way you'll know, well, I'm going to sell this for 5 years, and you'll know. I have no idea whether this is a 2014 edition or 2010 edition or whatever the year is. I have no idea, guys. So they need to at least put a year on it, and that's the way I feel about it. That's my OCD kicking in. Don't need a month or a day, but I would like to see a year on these type of beers. So with that being said, if you've had this one, this is their North Coast Grand Cru, and it's an ale aged in bourbon barrels with agave nectar, and it does lend a little sweetness with that nectar honey type lighter fruit notes, but very tasty. The alcohol is fairly well hidden. There is some slight hints of alcohol in this one, 13%. This is not something you want to pull the cork out of and suck it all down in one and 2 or 3 gulps or 4 gulps, whatever it's going to take to get it down. If you do, you're going to have your buds going on, no doubt about it. So I did share some of this with her, and she did love it. So I did too. Just need a little more information, and they would have got just a little bit better grade for me. They put a year on it, and the bottle is so dark. You can't, if it was digitized black on it with this dark of a bottle, you'd never see it. So they would need to put some kind of yellow digitized writing, or actually put it on the label itself, as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion now, guys. 2014, day and age, step up to the plate, get a dating machine. North Coast is big enough where they can do that. They choose not to. That extends the shelf life. Of course, shelf life on this is going to be pretty big, but if you're buying something, and this is, I guarantee you, this is not a cheap beer. This beer is probably between the $12 and $18 range, I would think. So, Parrish, you may have had some comments on the review here, what this beer costs, what you paid for this beer. But I would think it's a fairly pricey beer. And them being a bigger brewery as they are, they could date it if they wanted to. They just choose not to. So, thumbs down for that. And thumbs up for having a good beer. It's a very well made beer, very tasty. So, if you've had this one, let me know what you think, guys. And let's go see if we can find a beer in the fridge tomorrow. It's got a damn date on it. What do you think? See you then.